Hello everyone and welcome to Talking Game. It just finished. Kidderminster Harriers 1, West Ham United 2 in the FA Cup. After extra time as West Ham nick it at the death with a Jared Boyd goal. Let's talk about the game, I guess, Gonzo. What do you make of it? What are you feeling right now, actually? What are you feeling?
I feel a bit embarrassed, actually, in a manner that we did that, because it was awful, and I'm really pleased to be through. I don't particularly want to. I don't mind, actually. I never really complain that we keep on getting drawn against in the league, in the cups, against Premier League teams, and that's exactly why I hate this stuff. I've seen so much of it in my time. I'm pleased with it. I feel a bit bad for them, to be fair. For Kidderminster, I thought they played so well, really, really so well, and we were crap. And we just basically, at the end of the game, popped the ball in the back of the net, and then at the end of extra time, popped the ball in the back of the net. Yeah, I mean, it was a bit. It was just terrible. We'll go through the performance. I feel just mightily relieved, but I don't feel I feel we really got away with it. I think that's it. I feel a bit sheepish, a little bit humble. Do you know what I mean? And I'm really embarrassed that I want to say this now, because the trouble is there'll be Kidderminster fans who come on and watch this, at some point, some of them anyway. And I just want to say I'm really embarrassed by what Yarmolenko tried to do earlier on. We mentioned that this game was worth 2 years of the club's existence in terms of money. This club going in 2 years. If they'd have got through, I'm glad we got through by actually playing football. But if we'd have gone through, and that could have cost them another 2 years' money of existence because one of our players tried to cheat them out of their place in the FA Cup, it would have been really, really terrible. But so bad performance, Geo. Very relieved to be through, mate. Very relieved to be through.
It's difficult. Football cups are all about results. We got the result just in the end. Happy to get through, and I never thought I'd ever celebrate an equalizer against an on-league side like I did today, to be honest with you. But it was an embarrassing performance from us. But we won the game somehow. We won the game. I think it was horrendous though. The 19 minutes especially was horrendous. I think the extra time was a bit more composed, and I would have liked to have seen that throughout the 90 minutes. We'll get onto that in a minute. But relieved to be through, glad to be through. Kidderminster done themselves proud. They gave 100%. They fought for everything, and they showed us up for a large part of the game, actually. And it was getting a bit embarrassing for West Ham. Well, it was getting embarrassing for the players and the manager, I think. I think it was getting embarrassing for them in particular. But the quality shone through at the end. I think, in terms of the better team and stuff, I think there's no denying that you could tell we had better players and whatnot, but we should have done. Anyway, let's get into the game. We had to wait 19 minutes for the first goal, Collins. I mean, fair play to Kidderminster. They came flying out the traps, really. They made it difficult from the start, and arguably took a deserved lead in the 19th minute. We conceded a silly free kick. Lovely ball in. Areola comes flying out. Diop heads it. Falls to Penny. Fantastic finish from the right back.
Yeah, Areola didn't need to get that, but maybe he just wanted to hit because he hit Diop in the head, which is pretty much what I wanted to do as well at that point. But what he did was he managed to. Diop had it covered. Diop had that covered. It wasn't the best header in the world, but I felt Areola coming sort of made him take a little bit of sting out the headed clearance. Also, what would have happened I thought he was there, he was in position, he got the header. Areola should have been his goal, and then he just would have been stood in the goal for when Penny struck it. And don't get me wrong, he timed it really well, but then he just would have caught it. So I totally blame Areola for that one. But yeah, it was deserved because already they'd had 2 warning shots before that, one where Fredericks had just we were like caught. It was like a deer in the headlights. It just I just chest it into the path of one of those. So we were all at 6s and 7s. I don't think Diop did anything right today, but the one thing he did do right was stand in that position to head that ball away. And I don't think Areola helped him at all with that. So yeah, but I'll put the blame at Areola. But they already had momentum by that point, and they were all over us really.
Yeah, we were just sloppy. That goal, the free kick coming as a result of our sloppiness. Bowen's poor pass. Diop's just about 2 seconds behind play for some reason. The guy goes in and nicks it, and he just boots him wildly. How he wasn't even booked, I don't know, but it was just poor from Bowen, poor from Diop. Then the ball comes in, and I don't know who's to blame. I think it all depends on, did Areola claim it? Because you'd expect your keeper to be screaming for that. And if he has, then Diop should be ducking. Get the hell out of the way. It's a basic rule in football. Your keeper's coming for it. Get out of the way. Don't move, because the keeper can see it. He's screaming for it. It's his. Keeper makes the call in these scenarios. But if he hasn't called for it, then what on earth is Areola doing? He's either Diop's at blame or Areola's at blame. I don't know which it is. I think it 100% depends on whether Areola's claimed that or not for me. There's no communication breakdown or anything like that. Either Areola shouted for it, Diop's got in the way, or he's not shouted for it, and he should be coming out for that. But it's a fantastic finish by Penny for them. Richards at half-time was saying, as a defender, he would just leathered that. But for a right-back, stay composed, side-foot it in. Great goal. Let's skip forward to half-time then. What were you thinking? We're a goal down at half-time. What do you make of the first 45?
I thought we looked like pampered, entitled bunch of rich blokes running around on a football pitch wondering why VAR wasn't punishing Kidderminster for every time they dared brush past us, basically. I thought we weren't up for the battle. I thought we weren't up for the running. I felt we weren't really moving into positions. We had a front quartet who were charged with breaking them open. When I say that front quartet, I'd say Vlasic, Yarmolenko, Ben Rama and Bowen. If you're asking me in that first half, awful. Some worse than others there. We had a right back who can't pass or control the football. We had a centre back who just didn't like know what a football was. And we had that's Diop, by the way. And we had a midfield that just wasn't functioning. It was not functioning at all. So apart from our midfield not functioning, apart from having no desire, apart from there being a blunt attack and actually a defence that was like a colander, it was probably all right. But it was terrible. And I do want to say, because I want to heap a lot of praise on Kidderminster, but you did say that earlier on that Wolverhampton Wanderers had donated that pitch. I've got to be honest with you. I don't know if you can ask for a refund on a gift, but my word, I don't know. It looks like they dug it up from the dog fouling section of my local park, that pitch. But they could play football on it, Kidderminster. We couldn't. We had no desire. We didn't want to be there. Well, actually, we looked tired as well, really, really tired. And we didn't look like we just had 2 weeks off. We looked more knackered after the 2 weeks, to be perfectly honest with you. It was terrible. And I was scratching around thinking, how many subs can we do? I was delighted to know that we had 5. And I knew, even though Moyes doesn't like subs, I knew Moyes in this game would be making 5 substitutions if he could, because I was thinking three just ain't going to do it. Was not surprised to see players getting hooked at half-time either.
Yeah, that was one of the worst halves of football I've ever seen as a West Ham fan. Everything was bad. There was only one positive for West Ham fans at half-time. It was only 1-0. Kidderminster arguably deserved to have 2 by half-time. They deserved the lead. They were brilliant in the first half within their limitations and their ability and stuff. They really took the game to us. We didn't fancy it at all. I hate when you sit there and say the other team was up for it, blah, 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 because it should never be the case, but genuinely looked like it in that first 45 minutes. Fredericks was crap. Diop looked out his depth against a side 6 divisions below. Honestly, he wouldn't have gone to Kidderminster's team today. You said the Kidderminster Harriers guy at half-time, do you want our centre-back deal? He said, no, thank you. I'll stick with what I've got. I don't think Zuma was playing very well in the first half. I thought Johnson was wasteful in possession, wasn't doing very well. But our midfield pairing of Noble and Krall was just ridiculously bad. I expect a Premier League team rocks up at a game like this. I expect the midfield to control the game from start to finish. The only surprise I got in the first half was when it flagged up the possession and we had 72%, because I thought it does not feel like that whatsoever. It felt like we couldn't string the passes together. Noble was poor, Krall was poor, and the front 4 was missing. Barely got the ball to Jared Bowen because of the 3 players behind him as well. Everything was rubbish. The passes were just horrendous. The Fredericks lay off to Johnson on the edge of the box when he just stood there and went, there you go, mate, you have it. And they nicked it and had a shot. You do that against a League One side, it probably hits the back of the net. But it's just that attitude that Fredericks had, which is, you have it. Don't worry about him running in. Doesn't matter. You'll get it. Crowell did it with Noble. Did like a half-a-yard layup, and Noble's 3 yards away, saying, "There you are, mate." And it's just, what's going on? We played like a team that had won the game before the game even started, really, and Moyes got the lineup wrong. Moyes got it wrong in the first half. Yep. That lineup shouldn't have been a lineup. Crowell. This is why I wanted to see youngsters start. Crowell has no future at West Ham. Now the funny thing is, it justifies Moyes not playing Crowell all this time because he's crap. He was ridiculously bad at that game, but fine. The January window's just shut. Why have we not sent him back? Why have we not got a replacement in for him? Because we're probably not going to see him again this season. So now we're a centre midfielder down 1 game after the transfer window. Why is Yarmolenko playing? He's got no future at West Ham. Why play him? As the second half, I know I'm jumping ahead, but as the second half went on, we had a top goal scorer in London 23 sat on the bench. The most attacking option sat on the bench, didn't come on. Instead, we had to watch a guy who we've been trying to offload and can't offload, playing. We're pinning our hopes on this geezer to somehow decide he wants to start playing for West Ham. It was just embarrassing. It was a horrendous first half for us. And I just sat there. The worst thing is there was a little bit of me that was arrogant because I sat there half time like, oh, we'll still win. We'll just bring on our better players and we'll beat them because we have better players. That's the only reason. And it's the only reason we've gone on to win this game because we have better players. It's got nothing to do with attitude, nothing to do with tactics. Kidderminster was better in both departments. The only reason we've got out of that is because of A, our leader come the end of the 90 minutes, and B, because we're fitness shows. When you play Premier League and non-league, eventually fitness does show, and I think you noticed that as the game went on. Anyway, Gonzo, second half. Let's just skip. Well, actually, what were you making as the second half went on? Take me through your thinking, because obviously, I don't know about you. Like I said, in 45 minutes, I thought it's all right. We'll go on and win this, but come the hour mark, I was thinking, flipping hell, we're going to start doing something, yeah. And then 20 minutes to go, I'm thinking, come on, surely.
Look, Dawson came on and sorted out the Diop issue. Rice came on and gave us something else in midfield, but it still wasn't enough. We missed a lot of things today. We missed a playmaker. Massively missed a playmaker today. So many times we'd get the ball either centrally or in wide areas. And, okay, what now? What now? Because unless, bless him, he tried all game. It basically looked like Ben Rama. The goals didn't come from that, but it looked like it might have to be a Ben Rama dribble that was going to do something. So it didn't look like any 1-2s or any pass and move. And I was really delighted to see the goal come in the manner that it did. But that ball, for instance, that Fornals put in for Rice's goal was the sort of ball we've been missing all game. Fornals doesn't do enough of that. That's not his job. But actually, I was looking at it thinking, oh man, are we missing Lanzini here? We really are. Amongst others, there were many players that should have been on the pitch in that first half. But I even wrote it down. We're really missing the playmaker there. Cresswell on for Johnson, which improved things from an attacking aspect. But I still felt Cresswell was late to deliver the cross. They clearly knew what to do and close him down, and they weren't giving him time to put the cross over. So he needed to almost run onto the ball and just cross it first time and stuff like that. What would generally happen is they close it down, they give it to Ben Rama, and then it just sort of would stall quite a lot there, and it'd be recycled back into Rice. Clearly, Rice was trying to make things happen in the second half. So the Dawson and Rice substitutions did improve things. They gave us a little bit more of a foothold and time in midfield where Noble and Crowell weren't able to do that in the first half, and it gave us a little bit of solidity in defence. But I still felt in that final third we were, we were struggling really. And if you look, I actually wrote it down. Actually, it was 71 minutes and 40 seconds. And there was a point where Rice was there. He was in the middle. He'd carried it forward. And he was saying, someone come towards me, come towards me. Nothing actually happened. In the end, he looked up and he just ended up passing it wide. He said, like that. He actually did that. No one was moving for him at all. Dion Dublin, I think, was the commentator there, called it absolutely right. It was really, really poor. And those little triangles that sometimes when we're playing well that we do, where Lanzini interchanges a little bit with Cresswell and then Rice joins in. They go bing, 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 because they're on the same wavelength. How many times do we say Rice and Lanzini like lending each other the ball because they'll know they'll get it back, and they move and they swap positions. There was none of that going on. So, yeah, the longer it went on, we basically had no guile, no craft. We had a bunch of attacking players who were just labouring and doing nothing. And I was looking on the bench thinking, oh, my goodness, Yarmolenko was terrible and Vlasic was terrible. And Bowen Bowen got a goal and Bowen got better particularly in injury time until the end of the second half. But Bowen was not good for the first 60 minutes of that game at all. And I don't mean Ben Rama was world class. Don't get me wrong, because there was so much of what he did. He gave the ball away stupidly. Tried his ridiculous curled shot, which went over. But he was trying. The others weren't even impacting the game at all. So just thought we were just completely disjointed. It was a tough watch, that, mate. I tell you.
Yeah, I didn't think Ben Rama was that good. He was frustrating me. I thought he was taking too many touches, too long. And I think it goes back because I spoke to the two Kidderminster fans in the build up to this, and I said to them about the set pieces and stuff, and one of them said to me, "We'll be all right. Cross the ball as much as you want. These boys are used to it every single week. So when you play lower down, you're used to long balls getting punted at you from goal kicks and that." And he basically said to me, "All you're going to do is cross the ball. We'll be fine. Our centre backs are really good in there." And that was ringing in my head every time the ball went out wide. Ben Rama would cut it back, and I thought, who's he crossing to? Yarmolenko can be good in the air, but I'm not banking on him doing anything. Bowen's in the box, but what's the point? He's not going to win anything in the air. And we had Souček come on eventually, and I thought, there we go, get in the box.
Hold on. I've got to deal with this, Joe, because you've just said it and someone else has said it. So, because he just said this, has obviously come across wrong. I'm not saying Ben Rama was that good. You just said I don't think Ben Rama was that. I'm not. I'm saying he was the best, and he was the only one in a really poor quartet that wasn't operating and wasn't functioning. He was the only one that looked like he might try and drive into the box or something. That was my point. I thought he was poor. I thought we were all poor. I've obviously come across poorly if two of you have thought. No, I'm not. Someone else said I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't think Ben Rama was good at all. At all. I really don't. But
I don't think he was the most likely to do anything. I don't think any of them was.
I thought Vlasic and Yarmolenko were horrendous. I mean, horrendous. And so I'm not surprised he left him on. But anyway, sorry to interrupt. I just saw the chat.
No, it's okay. I just think we gave the ball to Ben Rama a lot, but that was always going to happen because in the first half I don't think we saw Ben Rama much. We saw Ben Rama a lot more when Creswell come on. I think the reason we saw Ben Rama more was because Creswell was on the pitch, so we just went down the left a bit more often because we had our main left back on there, get the ball out to him. And I was generally thinking when Souček was on as well, I thought, right, let's just go ugly. Let's get Souček up front practically, and let's just get the ball in the box and hope something falls for us. We just felt very like pass. And I was thinking, what are we waiting for? We're just waiting for Kidderminster to forget how to defend all of a sudden. We had a couple of half chances. That Ben Rama shot that went what the keeper saved. It was a 1-2 with Yarmolenko in the box. Even that bit, you're sitting there, you're thinking, shoot, stop this pass. Declan Rice comes on, has 3 shots in the second half, and luckily one of them goes on. But let's talk about Declan's goal then. 91st minute, left it late, but the captain stepped up.
Yeah, but he had some assistance in that because it just felt like Rice all on his own because there was nobody else there. So I was really pleased because he started off. I gave it to Fornells and I shouted at telly, play that pass there, which hadn't been coming all game. That being said, we didn't have a load of players running into those positions. Let's say that it wasn't like people that was happening all game and people weren't noticing the pass. It was just an opportunity that opened up. Fornells saw it, played it in front of him, which gave him something to do. Awareness, he'd already looked up, so he didn't need to when he struck the ball. If you watch, cut in on his right foot past the defender who played ever so well and finished really well. But as I say, didn't need to look up at that point. So he already knew where the goal was because he'd already taken a look. But it was a nice 1-2 with a bit of quality. It was a bit of Premier League quality in a game we didn't really show much. And it's I mean, there's a lot, as I mentioned the dive at the start, didn't I? But there was a lot to be embarrassed about. But it was in that game, and at one point you thought, okay. But it was. I felt sheepish. I celebrated it. We jumped off the sofa, sort of thing. We celebrated it, but I did feel. I felt a little bit naughty, actually. Do you know what I mean? I felt like we'd stolen Kidderminster's dinner money or something. Do you know what I mean? but mightily relieved at that point. And of course, you think, okay, we're going to go on and completely dominate extra time now, because it knocked the stuffing out of them. They were so tired, Geo, Kidderminster were. They put in such an effort, and the fans, you listen to the start of that extra time. The fans, they've got no singing left in them. The players, you see the players' body language, Kidderminster players. I thought, well, this is ours for the taking. Surely now, and surely Moyes has given them a right old rollicking for playing like that. But it didn't turn out like that, really, even in extra time. I know we got it at the end, but yeah, weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we finished the game with the team we probably should have started with, Mario Yarmolenko, to be honest with you. That's why I wanted to see Declan start, because we needed somebody like that on the pitch, somebody that was going to play the game and not the opposition a little bit. I think, if anything, the starting 11 are guilty of turning up and playing a side 6 divisions below them. Oh, which is better than, and we'll just walk through them a little bit. And actually, in the end, and this is going to sound harsh, Declan Rice did walk through them to score the goal. He just thought, well, you know what? I'm the better player here. I'm going to skin the defender because I'm good enough to do it. I'm going to make the run because we've got someone good enough to find me with the pass and stuff. And that 1 minute is the difference between a Premier League club and non-Premier League clubs as well. Like, you can actually win, or in this case, draw the game within 1 minute, or with one little piece of just quality. Fanal's come on the pitch. I thought he made a difference in terms of composure of the passing. But Creswell made a difference as well with the composure on the left, just calmed things down. I thought Johnson was a little bit erratic down that side. Fredericks was useless down the other side. And I thought, we just need someone to, when you're playing a team like Kidderminster that's sitting back, you need to have your fullback providing some sort of attacking dimension to the team. We didn't really have that, but I thought Creswell done it. Rice come on, I thought, you can just tell he's the best player. He should look the best player against Kidderminster, but that's what he did. It was a moment of leadership for him. He took the game by the scruff of the neck. A fantastic finish. And in a weird way, 1 minute I thought, bloody hell, that's a bold celebration, but something, I like it in the end, because it shows that actually some of the players do actually care about the FA Cup, and they did enjoy it and stuff. So finished 1-1 in normal time, so extra time beckoned for us, Gonzo. But before we do, quick shameless promotion. Speaking of Declan Rice in leadership, I've got this captain's armband signed by Declan Rice, and I've also got one signed by Mark Noble as well, who didn't have as good a game as Declan did today. But we're giving them both away. We're giving one of them to an existing patron as of this morning, and one of them to a new patron as of this morning. So if you'd like to enter the competition and join up and support the channel on Patreon, you can do by going to patreon.com/HammersChat. Link is in description and the pinned comments of this video. From £3.50 per month, you unlock new content, including our player ratings show, which we'll be doing about this game, which will be interesting. If you join up annually, you'll save 10% off your year-long subscription. 2 people will be winning 2 signed captain's armbands. We've got other stuff to give away as well for runners-up and so on and so forth. We'll explain it in a video out next week, but just to give you the heads up, get involved if you wish for a signed captain's armband. 2 of them to give away. Right, Gonzo, extra time. Take me through your thinking. 30 minutes of it. We scored in the last minute. Take me through the whole thing.
I thought we were sort of creeping into it. They were tired, a bit more. They were lacking a bit of cutting edge. Although they did have one chance, but I think they got into a bit of a muddle. Maybe it should have been left to the fella Preston, who was like a colossus today. But I was still at that point. I thought there might be a chance, because I felt we were starting to not win our individual battles, but we were starting to. I think we just worn them down, really. Obviously, there was a major worry with Zuma there, and I know the Kidderminster fans were booing him, thinking he was time wasting, but he really wasn't. That was a massive worry there, and still remains so, I think. By the way, but all through the game, Gio, I like an attritional one. Beat your opponent. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think we did. And I got to say, it was with honesty that they were winning these one-on-one duels. I didn't think they were overly diving. It was us doing the diving, obviously. I didn't think they were time wasting. I thought there was a real honesty about their approach. I thought that there's just an awful lot there. And when those one-on-one duels, they were winning them, but without fouling. Do you know what I mean? I thought, you know what? Fair play. They were stronger. They were faster. They wanted it more. At times, they were more skillful. When we couldn't control the ball, they were doing it. And I just felt in extra time, they just dipped a little bit, which allowed, they weren't dominating us individually in the one-on-ones. The press had sort of stopped being as ferocious, and just more and more Rice was getting more into it. And we kept on trying that thing. It was Rice, Cresswell, Ben Rama, and it was just we started to have pressure down that left-hand side, which meant we were having possession and well, you know, the rugby's on a little bit. We were having territory, basically. We had territory, and it was there. And I thought, okay, well now we're looking at either. I thought one of three things was probably going to happen at that point, which was Ben Rama was going to dribble into the box and get some joy, beat the fullback, beat the centre-back, or Cresswell was going to swing it over early, or it was going to be recycled back to Rice for a long shot or so. We just looked like there might be a threat coming, which wasn't really evident for most of the other game. That being said, I did not expect the goal to come in the way that it did.
I thought it was a good extra time, to be honest with you. You know, they were knackered. You could see they were on their knees at one point, but they kept their shape well. They made it difficult for us. It wasn't easy. I expected an easier I expected an easier extra time, especially considering the score in the 91st minute. I thought we'd have just knocked the stuffing out of them completely. I thought, oh, that's it. They're going to be done here. But for their manager to get them all together, he's got about 3 minutes before extra time kicks off. For him to get them together, get their heads back up off the floor, and so you've got another half an hour to go out there. And I thought they went out and done their fans and their club proud in that half hour, actually. Very, very close to taking it to penalties. And I thought it was evidential that sort of as extra time went on, especially the second half of extra time, I thought it was clear that they were trying to get to penalties, which I completely understand why, because then it really is a leveler. They can take it to pens, and they almost done it. I thought it was easy for us up until we had to do something to create a goal. You know, I thought defensively, I thought we were quite comfortable in the midfield. I thought we were quite comfortable. We were able to get the ball outside Kidderminster Harriers half quite easy. But when we were getting outside their box, it was the same thing that we saw for the 90 minutes. We were struggling to really come up with any sort of idea. As it was like, what do we do now kind of thing? Is someone going to take responsibility and make something happen? Got it at the end. Yarmolenko did, I guess, a trademark shot. Bowen flicked it, went to Cresswell, put it back across the goal. Bowen knocked it in, and happy days as a West Ham fan and gutting as Kidderminster. But one thing that sort of perhaps possibly overshadows the win a little bit, Kurt Zuma Gonzo went down, didn't look good.
No, it did look bad, looked really bad. But I don't just mean that as I want to say, because I will always complain when people dive against us. I know obviously more people are watching this now. Like I said at the start of the video, what Yarmolenko did was completely and utterly embarrassing. It was actually wrong. I've not been so embarrassed since Masuaku did his spitting incident. Actually, that's the most embarrassed I've been by a West Ham player in quite some time. I think he brings shame on the club by doing that. It's not like he got a little knock and he thought, I'll chuck an extra roll in there. Do you know what I mean? Or I'll arch me back a bit. And it was disgusting, actually. The Zuma one is just a massive worry. Just a massive, massive worry. Look,
I know
I don't want to
get the game, but we don't know if he is.
If he played on last time, I know he went off eventually against Chelsea. Sorry?
Bonner did it as well. Bonner went down, played on for about 5 minutes, and he sat down and said, I'm done. You're going to have to take me off here.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is a worry. Whilst I don't subscribe to the Letazar thing, because he's too slow for me, that doesn't mean we shouldn't have brought a centre-back in January. And that's the conversation. That's what Moyes leaves himself open to. Everything that happens. No striker on the bench. Should have done something in January. Centre back gets injured. Should have done something in January. And this whole thing, and this will go on and on. But he's left himself open to it, which is, you've got to be better than the players that I've got. I think he sometimes looks at Zuma, looks at Antonio, and thinks it's got to be better than that. Actually, no, you don't. Bearing in mind how badly Zuma played, as Diop played, bearing in mind how badly Yarmolenko played, and we've been saying it all winter, you actually have to bring players in that are better than those, and that would have done us to get us through. But if Zuma is out, he hooked Diop at half time, and I don't blame him. Diop needed to be hooked at half time. He was a disaster waiting to happen. But if Zuma is injured, I'm sorry, Davey boy, that's your centre-back partnership. It's going to be Diop and it's going to be Dawson. And have only got yourself to blame. But just so you know, I wasn't one of the ones clamouring for Letazar. I've seen him play 2 or 3 times. He's got a turning circle of an oil tanker, but there were other. It wasn't like Letazar or nobody. There are other centre backs that we could have gone and bought in, and he didn't get any of them, and that's wrong, just wrong.
I'll be honest. As the game was going on, I was cursing the January transfer window. I've tried to forget about it because I know we've been banging on about it negatively, and some people also get fed up and saying, "Oh, just look forward to the season you do." But as the game was going on, I'll be honest with you, I was sat there thinking, "Well, I'm watching Kral and Yarmolenko here, and Diop's having a nightmare. You tell me there was no one available better than these players." And then you see what happens to Zuma. You think, "Oh, brilliant! Tuesday night back to Dawson and Diop again." And then I sort of go a full cycle and think, well, if only we started with Elise in this game to have a look at him. I think playing Zuma, as I said in the preview, I wouldn't have played Zuma in this game because we didn't know what the pitch was going to be like. I thought it was risky playing Zuma, who's just back from a long injury on a game like that. And obviously, I guess you could say it's bad luck that he's got injured. He could get injured in training in any other game. Of course you can. But what you can do is minimize the risk of his injury or something, or give him the best chance of avoiding one. Today, you've increased it massively. We've seen it. And Tuesday night, we might be away to play Watford with Dawson and Diop sent back. And the reason I'm bringing up the January transfer window is because I'm not going to do a video about it because I'm sick of doing them. But this game was one of those that made me think, before a game, I said to you in the build-up show, look at our bench, Alcoflex, who else? If we need a goal, what we're going to do? And we saw it today against Kidderminster Harriers with the greatest of respect to them. We needed a goal. We were bringing on a left back, a centre back. We were shoving it up against Kidderminster. What we're going to do against Watford or Wolves or Newcastle if we need a goal in the Premier League, then what we're going to do? It's just it's game one after the window. I'm already thinking, bloody hell, I wish we just got one or two players in. And Alex Kral is an argument that we didn't even have in the transfer window, which is if he's so crap and Moyes has seen him all this time and Moyes has just justified himself by not playing him thus far, then why have we still got him? Why have we not sent him back in January and got somebody else in? And Aaron Ramsey went to Rangers, so you can't say there's no one available. At least he knows the Premier League and he's been doing it for Wales. It's just frustrating. Anyway, it finished 2-1 West Ham after extra time. What do you make of the game, Gonzo? I mean, it's very mixed feelings for me. Part of me is happy we're through. That's all that matters in a cup game. But I think there's more worries there's more negatives and positives to come out of today's game in a way.
I totally agree. Yeah, I do. I feel embarrassed about that, but relieved to get through. It is. The cheating one has bothered me because of what we said before about it being 2 years worth of money. And I thought if they had beaten us, that might have been, they got on to the next round. That's another. That basically could sustain that club for 4 years. And you shouldn't be. There's jobs and stuff. You should be cheating people out of that stuff. So it is. That has really, really annoyed me. And the lack of the lack of fitness worries me massively. The lack of urgency, the lack of real fight and desire at the start of that game. And you can't even lay it at any one person's door in terms of, because so many of them were bad. And that's why I wanted to go and correct the Ben Rama thing. You know what it's like? Sometimes you do these reviews. There's no, that's why I like the player ratings. Sometimes if you don't give someone a 10, then you're obviously giving them a 0. It's not like that. There's areas in between. Do you know what I mean? And believe you me, we do the player ratings. Some will score worse than others. But I do think there were so many on that pitch who were horrendous. I mean, really, really poor, Geo. Really poor. And just because a couple of people might have scored a 2 out of 10 and one of them might have scored a 4 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10, don't mean he's a bloody 10 out of 10. And that's collective. That's not down to one person. There's something going on there. It is urgency. It is fitness. It's messaging. They didn't want to be there. I think it was Dion Dublin that might have said, I liked him, by the way. He did a good job. He was the best one today, Dion Dublin. He said they don't want to be here, West Ham. They don't want to be here. And you can even see it even permeated into the goalkeeper, who has looked quite assured so far this season in West Ham. But he almost repeated exactly the same mistake later on. And the only thing that didn't happen is they weren't composed and couldn't manage to get the ball and win the second ball well enough to get the ball in the back of the net. But he did it again, and that time it was over Zuma. He's fine. Leave it there. He travelled a long way, and that just seemed to infest. I'm not blaming Areola for basically infecting the rest of the team with bad form. There's something happened before. Maybe we should have gone warm weather training. I don't know. Something happened. There was a general melee about the team today. There was I almost don't. They scare the life out of me. These lower
It's
league
lack
teams
of
and non-league
competition
teams.
as well. It's lack of competition as well, though, Gonzo. Michael Antonio's literally stood there and told us, "I need a striker in to push me." And we've not gone and got one. You know, some of these boys now almost probably feel that their places are for granted in the league, in the team. Sorry, and why shouldn't they feel like that? They are guaranteed. You know, Fornals is not that Fornals is probably a bad example. But if you were Issa Diop, you're probably thinking, well, so I'm only going to get dropped. You're bringing a centre back better than me. Well, on you go then, mate. Go spend 25 million and bring someone in.
Yeah,
I've got nothing to worry about. It's frustrating. I think on one hand, football's ruthless. Football is ruthless. Cups is all about results. We've won that.
yeah.
We've been on the last game I was at Old Trafford. We lost in the 93rd minute when we didn't deserve to. So winning in the 121st minute, I'm not that arsed about it. Unlucky, Kidderminster. Your team done really well. Your fans were good. You've done well to get to this stage, beating Reading and Halifax in the previous rounds. You had your day. You've got your money. You're set up for the next 2 years. Like I said, your team did you proud. Every single one of them gave 100%. And manager did all he could as well. Tactics-wise, I think you got it bang on. You were just a bit unfortunate that we are the Premier League team at the end of the day. But as for feeling sorry for them, a little bit, I guess, but not that much because I'm a West Ham fan. I wanted to win today. I'm just relieved it didn't go to penalties. But from a West Ham point of view, I'm going to be sweating about the news of Kurt Zuma. I hope he's. Yeah. I'm going to not. I was going to say I'll be genuinely playing. I won't be genuinely praying, but I will be sweating a little bit, a bit nervous to hear the news. You know, we've won the game, but I'm not thinking, oh, can't wait to see such and such. And I'm thinking, I hope we see Zuma in the next game because if he's out for a period of time, we're in trouble. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about a relegation battle. I'm talking about missing out on European football trouble. That's what it will be. That will be the impact of it. But today we started too many players that don't have a future at this club. The players know they've not got a future at this club. Whether that's Kral, Yarmolenko, even Ryan Fredericks, he's probably thinking, oh, I've only got 4 months to go on my contract. There've been no talks whatsoever. I'm probably going to get released at the end of the season. Yep. You know, what's their motivation to play for West Ham at this point? You'd like to think they do, but we turned up with a crap attitude. The tactics were average at best. What's short corners? What's that all about? Taking a short corner every single time. It was just frustrating today. And very, very poor performance. Far too many players went hiding, didn't fancy it. No. Kidderminster did. Luckily, we have better players. I think that's why we've won it. Anyway, individual performances, take your pick. Give me one or two. Just one. Give me one, then we'll bugger off.
Oh, okay. I think I probably mentioned Yarmolenko enough, haven't I? In this particular one, let's try and.
I'll go first then. Vlasic, massively disappointed by him. Was hoping for a good performance from him in what we think is supposed to be his best position in that sort of number 10 area of the park. Give him the ball, let's see things happen. He got some of the ball. Nothing happened. Actually, he did. He gave it away a few times. You know, one of the things I've been impressed by in his short time at West Ham is his physicality. I thought he'd be okay in today's game. I thought, oh, let's see their midfield rough him up. He'll be fine. Didn't fancy it whatsoever. I thought he was one of the players. You know something? Ben Johnson, I didn't think had a great game. I thought he gave the ball away a little bit and stuff. But I felt like he gave 100%. The ball got for a throw and he'd run after it, get it back, say, here, hurry up, take the throw, get on with the game. The game. You know, he'd go get the ball for their goal kicks. He was giving it to their keeper, saying, come on, get on with it. I thought thought Ben Johnson gave everything. I could tell he wanted to win. Didn't get that with Vlasic at all. He's the one. Yarmolenko, I'm not disappointed in. I expected that. Kral, I'm not really disappointed in. Half expected it. Vlasic, disappointed in. I expected to see more against the team 6 divisions below us from a player that is supposed on paper worth 25 million or whatever it is. So disappointed from him.
Yeah, it was a. Yeah, I shared your frustration. I say, particularly with that front four in the first half, you're just incapable of breaking them down. Which will lead me on to the player I do want to talk about, who was to go on and score. Which is it's pointless us talking about Declan Rice. Do you know what I mean? Again, we all know anyone with eyes saw what happened with that. You know what happened in that game today. Bowen, that's a David Moyes said something in the week, which is I didn't bring a striker in because I don't see anybody around who's better than Jared Bowen at playing a striker. Well, he was terrible. Moved to the right wing. I thought he was back to the old Bowen. Actually, I thought okay. Suddenly his tail was up. He was interested. He was finding pockets of space. I knew he was going to be there. I'm sorry. Up front, he was dominated by two, whatever it is, the National League centre halves. Look, I thought one of them one in particular had a really good game. Really, really good game. But this is not anybody that would even get near a championship club or anything like that. And it shows that he doesn't understand the nuances of being a centre forward, the areas in which to play. And unfortunately, when you don't have a playmaker, which we didn't do in that, and we were struggling to get the ball to him and no one else, he's not able to do it. And I thought it was actually quite stark. And I was interested to watch what Moyes did there, which was, okay, Moyes is probably thinking, right, I haven't got 7 subs, unfortunately. Someone crap's going to have to stay on because there were more than 5 crap players. What am I going to do? I'll just move Yarmolenko somewhere else and he did. Moved him up front, and that was one of the things he got right, I guess, because it didn't really matter. Yarmolenko was still just as crap, but what it did do, there was one player being swapped around. Yeah, absolutely. At least it improved Bowen, and it really did. And that's a little insight there into. And don't get me wrong, I think he can play better than that if the rest of the team are functioning. But when we're not playing well, I'm not sure Bowen is the answer as a striker there. But yeah, I was pleased. I was pleased to see that because it didn't take much. We really only needed 3 to 4 players to start playing okay. We got through in that game, and that's why. But it just shows that because we got through, because 3 or 4 players started playing okay, quite how poor we were earlier on in the game when no players were okay in many respects. It's hard to make a case in that first half, particularly for anyone playing well, and I mean anyone. And that is not. How often do you say that? The whole team is bad. Final word on it as well. A couple of the comments, typical West Ham. Actually, it wasn't. I've been to a number of these games and been beaten by lower league opposition in my time. Typical West Ham is to play that badly and lose. So clearly there's some spirit there in the team. Moyes will be pleased with that. But I do also agree with a lot of the comments in the chat I've seen about certain players it being their last game for West Ham, or it should be their best. I think certainly there's some who have got to go, but I do believe for a couple of players, we probably won't be seeing them again unless it's absolutely desperate in a West Ham shirt. I think boys will have learnt a lot from today. Declan Rice, man of the match. Yeah,
it has to be Declan. As I said, feel a little bit sorry for Kidderminster Harriers. They've done themselves proud. They can be proud of the game they gave us, and they gave us a game, but ultimately Premier League quality showed. We got up with it a bit today. A slightly better team than Kidderminster Harriers. We know they would have won that game in the 90 minutes. No. Embarrassing from a lot of people at West Ham today, whether that's Yarmolenko's diving, Yarmolenko's individual performance. I think Moyes got up with it today as well a little bit. I'm sure when he picked the team, he thought, that team should win, and he's right. That team should win if they're all focused, if they turn up with the right attitude. But we didn't have the right attitude. And then that goes back to the question was, well, why didn't they have the correct attitude? And it's not often, if anything, I was confident of winning today comfortably because I thought the attitude would be fine. I've never had a doubt about how Moyes' teams would rock out there and be professional. They'd all give 100%. They would take nothing for granted. Actually, today I didn't feel that. I felt the opposite. I felt we turned up with far too much arrogance about us, like the game was already won before the ball was kicked. Did the occasion get to us, or did we just have our ego? I think it's the latter, to be honest with you. We've played in far bigger occasions than that. We've been playing Europa League football. A lot of those players have been playing Europa League football this season and coped more than fine. So I don't think it's the occasion. Fair play, Kidderminster. Lucky West Ham. Before we go, Gonzo, would you like to remind people about our competition?
Oh, absolutely. Look, we got two captain's armbands there. One of them is signed by today Man of the Match. I just want to say, by the way, when we give Man of the Match, we give Man of the Match for West Ham, regardless of how well I think we've lavished plenty of praise on Kidderminster. One by today's Man of the Match, Declan Rice. The other captain's armband by our club captain, which is Mark Noble. These are authentic, original signed armbands by the fellas themselves, and you can get your hands on one of these by if you are an existing patron. Sorry, you're right. You get your arms. Get the old guns in one of these by joining Patreon. Now, one of them goes to an existing patron who's already with us, and we thank you very, very much indeed. And then the other one is going to be given to somebody who joins Patreon within the next few days. We've not quite got a designated time as yet. How do you join Patreon? Well, you go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. The link will be in the description below for Patreon. First, we're trying to encourage you to support the channel. Myself and Gio are doing this as a full-time job as well. Charlie is also doing lots to help out Hammers Chat, and we're just trying to make a go of it as much as we can. Not only do you get to support us, you get some extra content as well, like our player ratings, which we're going to record. We're going to record that this evening. Is that all right, Gio?
We'll do it this evening.
We're going to record that this evening, and so then you'll get to find out exactly who's naughty and who's not. Most are naughty.
Plenty of them getting handed out tonight. If you enjoyed this review, drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below. I'll pop back later to have a little read of what you're all saying, and we'll catch you on the player ratings this evening, hopefully.